tell you something important then, shouldn't I? But what would you say if you could speak to millions of people over the internet? I suppose I'd tell you the story of an old friend of mine that they once told me. His grandfather, he was a pilot in World War II and flew bombing runs over Europe. On one run, his plane was hit with deadly anti-aircraft fire, but by some miracle, they survived. They had no idea how on earth they were still alive until they examined their plane and found the anti-aircraft shells in the fuselage had no explosive charges in them. In one of the shells, they found a single hand-scribbled note written in Czech, written by the person who had been forced to manufacture the shells. It simply read, "This is all we can do for you now." Some random unknown worker, beat down by a brutal authoritarian government and forced to work under a terrible evil, decided to do something. They removed the explosive charges from every single anti-aircraft shell they were working on and wrote a note they must have known would probably never be read, just to say, "This is all we can do for you now, and we're going to do it. They're trying to make us kill you, and we refuse." In a world filled with hatred, anger, pain, and selfishness, the single most revolutionary thing you can do is a simple act of kindness. Anyone who's watched a time travel movie knows that if you go back in time and change something very small, it will radically change the future. But barely anyone in the present really realizes that they will radically change the future by doing something small now. Every action you take is going to change the world dramatically, and it will affect the lives of thousands of people. Every action you take affects someone, and they then affect someone else because of that, and they affect someone else, and then someone else, and so on. Though you'll probably never get to see even a tiny fraction of it all, and the change you've enacted. And then a whole lifetime of those actions? Well, now you've changed the world in a very significant way, and changed the lives of millions in some way or another. You do not get to choose if you are going to change the world or not. You already have. And you're going to keep changing it for the rest of your life. The choice you get to make is how. Will your small acts of kindness forever make the world a better place? Or will your small acts of hate forever make it worse? It excites me to think of all the incredible things you could do to make the world a more wonderful place. Perhaps, someday, dear player, you can find me and tell me about all the wonderful things you have done and how you've changed the world. I'd like to hear of it all someday. And perhaps, if you ever need a helping hand, reach out. Maybe we can change the world together. But until then, dear friend, I'm glad you could stop by and enjoy my game. Be kind.